episode 13. Put this up here to keep my hair intact. Episode 13, Finding Your Inner Light, Your Path to Self-Work. We're working out of the book, Life Skills TTP series. And today we're going to talk about identity, the dangers of seeking external validation. Now, identity, and this is my identity crisis. This ain't 1 through 5 or when they say identity or whatever the list is. This is my list. And what we teach here and show you here is that you always deal with self. And growing up, I had an identity crisis. Seriously. The dangers of seeking external validation. In today's society, it is all too common for individuals to seek validation from external sources, whether it's through social media, relationships, professional achievements. Many people rely on others to determine their self-worth, which means growing up, 1982, 12 years old, identity crisis. I am a jock, a nerd, and a square. But that wasn't popular then in the 80s. What was popular is they had dropped all kind of drugs, crack, and whatever like that. And a lot of people that didn't have an identity, like myself, hustler, gangster. Hustler, gangster. And, I hustle. Since I was a little kid, cut lawns, sold candy, whatever. Yeah, I'm a hustler, for sure. But that's different. You can hustle on this channel. You can hustle doing whatever. But when you're out in the streets and you're dealing with controlled substances and you're selling stuff, hustler means something different. And they will identify you with whatever attachments is to that hustler and that gangster rap, right? So if you really look up gangster and you really get into gangster and then you put rap on the end of it, it don't make no sense. Not coming from the original hip hop culture. So you have to know your identity and stay till the end of this episode, because I'm going to tell you coming in 2025 what's expected of you, your identity and your identification, and know who you are. And also I'm going to take a moment out to address some of these people. I know some of these people on these super large platforms pay people to come and disrupt. But I'm going to let you know here, we got scholars, we got researchers, we deal with the information that's rooted in the foundation of this country. So if you have any new information or something to add that I can throw that alley-oop, I'll expand on it and push it forward. But all that weird trolling is unnecessary. And what ends up happening, these cats has got a lot of money on these platforms that they turn narcissists. All you got to do is research their channel of how they started. And then whatever the viral video is, they done took off with that, some goofy stuff, right? So they've destroyed your channel because you didn't stick to your identity, which is what do you have to bring now in this age of 2024, which is the age of information. So you people that come here with the nonsense, that are bored and uninformed, let me tell you again, bored and uninformed. We got researchers. So if you got something that we didn't hit on, or you said, hey, that's wrong, we take that, man. You got to understand, we love that type of stuff because then we can get further. We can understand what's going on and we can head in that direction. You know? And I don't want to spend too much time on that. It's just that people want to be supreme. They want to run over everybody, clone, steal, do whatever. And in our culture, it's the worst when we should be working together, helping each other, doing all that. If you knew your identity, you would recognize somebody that is doing the same thing and expand on that instead of coming in my little chat saying weird stuff. Bored and uninformed. And that's all the time I'm going to spend on that. And so when you're seeking validation, what are you looking for? You're looking for the title, label. You're looking for the hustle. You're looking for the gangster. Somebody call you a jock. You know, in high school and shit, I played sports. They call us a jock. We like jock. Yeah, that puts you up somewhere. You like, yeah. But what happens? You go to college, you still the jock. They still babying you. They still got you in your second childhood. Right? Ain't told you nothing pertinent. Ain't gave you no information. Don't have no financial literacy. Get your contract, money gone. Job. And then we'll get to us nerds. And a lot of us were like, oh, we don't want to be called that. We got to find a different character. We got to change our identity because society ain't accepting the positive and all this intellectual stuff. They're like, oh man, he weird. But the foundation of this country is based on reading, comprehension, and social interaction, which means you got to understand what the person is saying. And that only happens when you're back in elementary growing up. They stop giving it to us by the time you get to high school, because high school is really the social experiment. High school is where all of this really comes into play. And believe it or not, you fit into one of these things. I know I did. Naturally, didn't even ask to be labeled anything. Wasn't looking for any validation. Wasn't looking for somebody to say, hey, you made it. Made it where? It's gravity. You going to the top, to top where? You got to come down. You know, so think about that. Y'all that got all this money doing all this shit, paying people to do stupid stuff. Remember that. And we're going to move on. We're going to get into understanding yourself. Now, when I was growing up, I was for sure thought, because I was in the band, choir, I played sports, foundational stuff. Anybody doesn't know, if you do any of that, you don't have any time really to do anything else. You just don't. You play an instrument, you practice in the instrument. Playing the notes, you learn in the keynotes. You're engrossed in the stuff that you were doing. And the journey towards self-worth is one we must first embark on the path of understanding oneself. Often we find ourselves seeking validation from external sources, desperately searching for approval and acceptance. So you're searching for approval and acceptance. But the reality of it is you just got to be yourself. If you know your identity, none of this stuff is going to bother you because they're just labels. And if you don't participate in any of this, then you shouldn't have any reaction to it. Like, it shouldn't set you up. Another word, I'm going to give you a story. We do this exercise. In peer-to-peer, we do this exercise. It's called Hear No Evil. And we sit two people in front of them, male, female, male, female, and they just say all the things that they don't like about that individual, allegedly. Like, just saying stuff. And a person, because they know this is an exercise at first, they just sit there until they hear that trigger word. And as soon as they hear the trigger word, the argument starts. And then I stop and I tell her, I say, hey, well, he or she said a lot of stuff. Why is that so important? And they don't know each other. So I asked them, I said, and you don't know that person. So why, if they say that, oh, you're a jock, you're a nerd or whatever, or a square, why does that bother you? And through the exercise, they started to understand that it has nothing to do with them, because anybody could say these things. And you shouldn't let anybody say these things and get some kind of emotional reaction out of it. That's what the person did when they came to my site. Doing some emotional reaction stuff. Oh, like I told you, bored and uninformed. It's the age of information. If you're not willing to even entertain some new information, then that's on you. Stay by your time machine with Pac and Biggie. Just stay right there at that time machine in front of the liquor store and see if you're going to become a rap artist or somehow you're going to become a millionaire with the bars you done wrote for 30 years. Hustler, gangster. Because you don't want to be a jock, a nerd, or a square. And those are all the people that run this country. Politics, sports, and information. So I'm providing you this information, letting you know identity. And I told you at the end, we're going to get into that new identification, what's really going on, while people are just walking around with still with their prison ID in their pocket, cashing their check. Know your identity, because they do. And once they identify it, they're going to send some individuals, some hustlers, some gangsters, to see if you a real gangster or a real hustler. And some of us that know, that's been out there and been in that stuff, you know, you get thrown to the wolves. And if you ain't a survivor warrior, or if you ain't conscious enough to know that, you're going to get swallowed up over there. A matter of fact, your identity is going to be all screwed up. And then you'll be like me, 13, 14 years old, confused. And wanting to just be a rap artist and a breaker. I also did graffiti because, you know, I draw. So I was all into the graffiti. Like I said, I didn't have no identity. I wanted to do a lot of stuff. And I did whatever was socially accepted so I wouldn't feel a certain way. Oh, I didn't want to be the square. What's up with all those large words and all of that stuff? So the beat down of that will turn you. It'll turn you into a hustler, turn you into a gangster, supposedly. But you realize you ain't none of that, especially no gangster, because the real gangsters, they deal with you. You know, so you find out quick that you ain't no real gangster. So you say, oh, I'm a hustler. But you talk gangster shit. You know, so you got to know your identity. And I'm talking about me. This applies to me. I've done the work, almost 20 years. I've done the research, and I understand what happened to me. And all I'm doing is sharing, because it's the age of information. And you young fellas, I would tell you, hey, just stay a jock. Stay a nerd. Stay a square. Really stay a square. A person call you a square, you should applaud. And you should say, right on. Man, I appreciate you. Instead of, I ain't no school, man. I drink St. Ives. I smoke. Come on, man. Your identity, where you come from. I have an identity because this goes back to, and we're going to get into right now, your parents. See, I grew up, I had both of my parents. My dad, very, very, very strict, taught me how to take care of myself. Gave me certain skills, electricity skills, carpentry skills. I worked in the garden. So I actually have real skills, and I had an identity that my parents gave me. But I didn't want it. Oh, no, I didn't want it. I wanted to be a hustler. I wanted to be a gangster. And I appreciate my parents because they stuck with me. They stuck by me, and my parents are still alive today. Shout out to my parents, and I hope my dad, it's his birthday today. Uh, I hope he's feeling better. He has cancer. He's been dealing with that for a few years. But identity is shaped in the household. And the reason I got out of all this weird stuff is because I have parents. So I'm not going to lie up here and say, oh, I figured it out. I ran, did this, and that. And y'all was the reason why all this stuff happened. And this and that. And if you wasn't, you're an adult. You're an adult. You need an identity. And then you need a career, not a job. A job will have you broke. And a job is a hustler, gangster. That's a job. And most of the time you end up broke or in jail or something like that. So I was confused, and because of what I was seeing, the cars, the jewelry and all that stuff, I was on that money thing. Oh, man, I'll be set for life, right? All I got to do is just craft the perfect song. All I need is one. All you need is one. No. Identity. You know what identity is? With people that deal with music, that's why we don't have no music. Identity. Michael Jackson, catalog. Music. He has music probably to go for the next 30 years. Catalog. John Mayer, catalog. I can go on. And I'm just mentioning the people I listen to. Because they have identity. And all that stuff, it takes you 8 years or whatever to make some music is nonsense. I can make 5 songs today. They might not do nothing, but I can write them. I can make them. So all of these people that's sitting around acting like, oh, well, I needed this. No. You never was an artist. You never was that. You didn't have any identity. The puppet master has you going. And then they're going to put you over here, but they ain't going to put you down here. They're going to put you up here so they can send all their people around you and keep you confused. You really a square. And they running game. They'll run that game and this, that, and make you think that you finna do something, and ain't nothing never gonna happen because you're not a hustler. You're not a square. You don't know your identity. And you just running around, performing, acting, all these different characters. And then when somebody calls you wanting to confuse, it's like, bro, what's up? Man, what you talking about? Oh, you ain't going to do nothing. Half of y'all is scared to death. None of y'all want to go to jail. None of you. You get over here, and then you don't want to deal with the consequences. I know, I've been there. And I know some of you, I know. Have your head down when you're in there. Ain't got no hands or nothing. All you knew was gunplay. So, identity. You gonna deal with this? Get in the gym. I'm just telling you. Because it's real. And people be saying that, nah, it's real. It's a whole society. And they do their thing. And because I am the way I am, I attracted certain older individuals that weren't giving out, and they gave me knowledge. They gave me the real game about what it is like that. And the reason that happened is because of my energy, my light. Because the minute I get in trouble, I don't want to be there. I'm like, this stuff is, but I'm ready. For whatever. But when I was in that stuff, I didn't have any identity. I was still trying to fit into this stuff over here. And I didn't have to because I was naturally at the bottom. I was the jock, nerd, and square. I could have just rolled that out. But my identity crisis, you got an identity crisis? And people tell you, you go, man, nigga, I know who I am, but you don't. You don't. You don't even know they still playing skin games. So identity, you have no clue. You got to get one. And so, one powerful tool for understanding oneself is self-reflection. I do it every day. I do it now. I do it all the time. The only difference is I am who I am. I've been that all my life, and I ain't worried about it. I'm not worried about what people say. I'm not worried about, hey, you trying to do this and that. That's why I address that person that I know that came from one of these mega platforms, because they didn't like the information. But let's build on each other. Let's, throw me something. I throw you something. And because we know how attacking the culture, we know how attacking individuals that are trying to help individuals go. We know that. We know the power is in the people. And you cats with a bunch of money, like I said, you bored and uninformed. The fact that you're not looking this stuff up yourself and you actually having somebody else do it, oh, I'll have them do it because just go do that. Then you just doing volume and you ain't doing no quality content. Because you reacted to something and you didn't get the full information before you came. Like I told you, we ready over here. We know our identity over here. Good vibes only. And I'll say it again, and I'm going to conclude with this. All of y'all that's bored and uninformed, get smart. Age of information. Age of technology. Identity. And so I'm going to conclude because I told you that. All right, y'all got some up-to-date information on identification. Beginning May 7, 2025, you will no longer be able to use a non-real ID. You will not be able to use a non-real ID, compliant driver's license, or state ID to board a domestic flight. If you do not upgrade your license or state ID, you can use a passport or one of these other acceptable forms of identification to fly. Identification deadline, May 7th, 2025. Make sure you got your credentials. This is Life Skills TTP, keeping you up to date. 2025 is the cutoff for you running around with fake paper in your pocket. Paper from county jail or prison ID. An expired ID or this and that. This is very important because they're going to start rounding people up. So I thank you. I appreciate you. Today was about identity. And, I hope you got something out of it. I appreciate my subscribers. I thank all of y'all for tapping in. And to the rest of y'all who are bored and uninformed, let's get something cracking. And then we can move into the future and we can really get some stuff going. So I appreciate y'all. Till next week.